Hello, Rare Elvis Photos. Wanted to put some spotlight and highlight on your comments. This is just a small percentage of the comments that came in today, and I do try to read them as often as I can. I try to heart them. Your comments are very important to me. Even though I get busy with regular life and regular work and doing these videos, I do see them. Dolores Martin, 883, says, loved the book. Thanks for reading it. Made it to the very end as always. Thank you, Dolores. I'm going to go back and heart and like that for sure. I do try to heart and like as many of your comments as possible. Hey, Vicky 6070. I really enjoyed Kathy's book. There were a few things in it that it didn't necessarily agree with, but overall, it was a good, thoughtful book. The cats are all coming in the room here, and the dogs. That's the creaking you're hearing. Uh, I think she tried to be honest in her perspective. She certainly cleared up some things. Also, I really appreciate how she presented Elvis the man and Elvis the entertainer. He was smart, intelligent, thoughtful, insightful, a good conversationalist, fun, etc. And even during the more difficult times in his life, he's able to regroup and reassert himself. For me, she gives him much more credibility as a man than how he's presented in Lucy's book of being weak, not in control, dependent, and indecisive. Thank you for reading it. Made it to the very end, Kathy. And once again, Elvis kind of called to Kathy really when he needed her too, when he was weak and tired. In the beginning, when he was a lot healthier in 1970, certainly that was a different picture and viewpoint because he didn't have the health issues. He was with Priscilla still, even though she, had already cheated on him and may have been on the outs or not even living with him. But it was a different time. But I get it. I get that you like the Elvis and Kathy book better. So I appreciate your opinion. Mickey says, bobblehead laughing my butt off. Good one. Yeah, I mean, it's, just something that popped in my head to say, because I really would rather say bobblehead than whatever her last name is. Carol says, perhaps consider reading the book by June Monico, In the Twilight of Memory. The book is full of unfilled dreams, lovers lost, and impetuousness of youth. Sorry. It also presents a different picture of Elvis. We are filled with sad emotion after reading Kathy's book. I sincerely suggest we read and understand the young Elvis too. It is beautifully written by June. I do want to read that book. Another one that's not cheap. A good $100 to buy that book. Elvis and Lucy, Charlie Hodge mentions Desiree. Elvis upset Priscilla suing. I bought this book for my mom, and she called me and said she really believes this so much. And Michelle also says this book is so true. It really does read as if this is really the true picture of Elvis, which was very loving, very sweet, and very frustrated, throughout the points of his life. What we have seen is a pattern of Elvis calling Anne Margaret late at night, when he's troubled. We see a very sporadic, spotty calling of Priscilla in Germany. And we know that that Elvis was somebody that needed somebody to talk to a lot, and different people. Nancy Lorenzo 7029, thank you so much. Feel better. Take care. You sing and read really good. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Always good to see you on the channel. I see you pop up and leave a lot of comments. On the Elvis and Lucy, Charlie Hodge mentions Desiree, which he mentions Desiree to try to disprove the fact that Elvis could have a child, a love child. Elvis is upset that Priscilla is suing. It's in that last reading of Elvis and Lucy. Andrew Miller says, sick to death of the Priscilla lovers out there. How willfully ignorant can people be? Seems their go-to argument is to justify their position as how young Scylla was. She's just seen as an innocent, her age, taken advantage of by the older and huge superstar. Oh, please. Would it shock them to hear that girls at that age are not all pure as driven snow? And I think that some of the Elvis fans, or the Priscilla fans, they know who Priscilla was. But what they want to do is they want to excuse who she was because of the men that were in her life. Now, I can certainly see the whole Curry Grant thing, but if because he seemed to be the one that pursued her and traded that for the meeting of Elvis. But Everybody else in her classes from junior high and high school said she wasn't innocent. So, I mean, I think that that's the argument that you're talking about the endocrinology and the role of hormones and all that stuff. Um, I don't think you're going to change their minds with that type of argument because they're basically going to say it's still the responsibility of the older person to not fall for that. Um, and once again, we truly know that, I mean, Elvis was what, 24 at that time? Uh, once again, that's kind of an argument that's really hard to win with Priscilla fans. I think that the best argument you can say is, hey, she was a horrible mom. She admitted it. She laughed at Lisa's book. She made a mockery of it when she went on stage. They didn't have a good relationship. You said nothing is further than the truth, that she was a good girl from a loving and worried family. I agree with that. I don't think that she was a quote unquote good girl, which people don't have to be good girls, but if you're selling a story, it should be able to be backed up, I guess. Karen says, I'm thinking that Lucy's the reason Elvis could not or would not be intimate with women who had given birth. I don't know. Just thinking and wondering about if there may have been a connection. It could have been. I was talking to Derry about this on the video that we're going to be putting up tomorrow. Somewhere around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, it should be loaded. Derry and I actually talked a little bit longer than normal. We talked a little over 2 hours. And I like to put the unedited conversation up there so y'all see that we're not hiding anything. I have to usually stop recording, but I do it immediately right after. So I think I had to do that only once. But we do cover that a little bit, my thoughts and his thoughts. But I think you're right on track there somewhat. I mean, it could be. Once again, we don't have a definitive answer. Elvis and Kathy, the final chapter, Lovers Again, Ginger on the Outs. Isabel said, thank you so much. I've got an extra book titled Elvis and the Mafia. If so, please message me. I think you're asking if maybe you want me to send it to you. You want to send it to me. Yeah, that'd be great. Just I guess email me, rareelvisphotos@gmail.com. I'll probably just stick it in a comment. And if you send it to me, I'll read it. Elvis's artwork in Florida. I love this little artwork that was done in Florida when we went on vacation. Hey, Patrick Cat. Nice pics. I spotted the book about the Dawn in the background, too. I'll have to zoom in and take a look at that because I don't remember that. There was like one of these little antique mall, flea market places. And I was surprised, to see a nice little display of great-looking Elvis pictures there. Really, really well done, whoever that gentleman was. Hey, Freedom, he said, made it to the end. Kathy, I got choked up a couple times at the end as well. I've lost all respect for Priscilla for what she's done to Elvis, Lisa, and now her granddaughter, Riley. Thank you for reading this book. Hugs, Elvis isn't suffering anymore. He's gone home to be with the Lord. He's with the King. That's very true and a nice statement there, Freedom. Rock and Roller Girl, hey, thanks for the super thanks you gave me earlier. Even Kathy would have been a better mom to Lisa. As a mom, it breaks my heart how much Priscilla failed Lisa. Priscilla was extremely selfish, and probably Lisa looked for a mom figure between Elvis ladies. Oh, definitely. I mean, I think you're right on with that, and it may have been Priscilla that kept Lisa from being with Kathy because she probably put it in her head that Kathy was just trying to get with Lisa in order to get with Elvis. Possibly. Elvis and Lucy. Charlie Hodge mentions Desiree. Kate Klein-Stuber says, this made me cry. Yeah, it's what a tough. I think we can all experience it like we were there. And we weren't, but I think we could really feel that because how we feel about Elvis. Elvis and Kathy, the final chapter. Was Ginger ever on the in anyways? I don't think so. She had her own agenda, and it did not reflect on EP at all because she was barely out of her teen mindset or aptitude and not a mature, finessed, or sophisticated person at that stage in her life. Are we not surprised? Good point there. Sandy says, shame on you, horrible, awful, greedy, self-centered, heartless Priscilla. I think you said what a lot of us think right there. The Tiny Bubbles. What's up, Tiny Bubbles? Made it to the end. Appreciate that. You definitely are on here a lot, and you do make it to the end of most of these videos, or maybe even all of them. We appreciate that. Cherlan, can you get a copy of Elvis's polygraph test by O'Grady? I actually talked a little bit to Derry about that in our video, which will be loaded tomorrow. Kate Klein-Stuber, hey, Lucy was absolutely beautiful. I think so too. I wish there were more pictures of her. Something else I kind of brought up to Derry in the conversation we had. And I messaged Desiree about that too. And we'll see. We'll see if we can get some more photos. Made it to the end, Kathy. I'm with you. Sorry we are done with this book. Sad, sad face. Nobody will ever come close to Elvis. Amen with that, Carol. Um, Nobody. You're right about that. Not even close. Lynette, Dr. Wall says, made it to the end. Thank you, Lynette. Kathy, thank you for reading this beautiful book to us, Joe. God bless. God bless you too. And, I may go back and take some sections and we might reread them again at some point in time, or just do um, an overall idea of the book in general. Daphne, really sad ending for a fantastic book. I think she really had a special relationship with Elvis. I'm glad that he had Kathy in his life. Thanks for sharing this great book with us. You're very welcome. I enjoyed it too. Diane Ward says, this book's been interesting, loving, and heartwarming. To have been a friend of Elvis's was a special gift to all. Really, I mean, think about that. And I was always curious about the heiress that was like a sister to him. Why she went off and was not around Elvis anymore. We got to find out about that. I don't know whether she ever wrote a book or memoir. Made it to the end, Kathy. Oh. And maybe Kathy's looking at these, and maybe she'll see that everybody loves her book. Isabel says, I believe this book I read in other books that he had cancer. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting emails too. There's these conditions that are out there, like lupus. My mother died of lupus. It affects all of your organs. Um, I've gotten some emails about it, and I think I've shared that my mom had lupus, and that's what she passed away from in 1981. Um, and yeah, it's so much. It comes with so many problems, and Elvis could have had something similar. Mary Sell says, if Elvis really wanted to be with Lucy after his divorce, she should have persuaded Lucy. Lucy, if she really knew Elvis, she wanted to be with Elvis no matter what to finally be together. Lucy could have gotten the divorce. I listen every night to the book, but sorry, I have doubts. Hey, and I get it. But here's the thing. Lucy was with a guy that had 2 kids by her. Jack Greer had 2 kids. And Derry shares some very enlightening information. He talked to Jack Greer. So tune in tomorrow and see what he has to say about that. I've read this book, says Geraldine, or is it Get Aldine White? I read this book several times, and yes, I do believe it was Elvis. Told John O'Grady if Desiree ever called to put her through to him, and he always wondered who she was, but she never called after that one night in Vegas. That's a good point, and I don't know whether that's in the same Charlie Hodge or somewhere else, but I do remember reading that too. And maybe it's in this book. Maybe it's because that's directly quoted from John O'Grady to Derry. I'll have to go back and revisit that. Thank you for bringing that up. Kelly Hampton, her diary must have been very complete with all the direct quotes that's in it. Very possible. And we talked about that too in the video tomorrow. Psychic Soul Journey, thank you. What an excellent read. I appreciate it. And I'll have to check out and see whether you guys should get a channel there. I try to click on your guys' names sometimes and subscribe to you in case you ever start your own channels, okay? So if you want me to subscribe, ask me. I'll do it, okay? Heidi says, Priscilla is still telling the same stories in a Netflix special. I know. I watched it last night, and I had to stop it a couple times and talk to my wife and explain what was so wrong about what she was saying. She's just spinning the same tired stories that are not true. Allegedly, I have to say that because, I wasn't there. I feel that way. We've read books about it. Hey, Tammy, God bless Lucy. Yep, God bless her. Rest in peace. Rainbow said, Joe, this is Diana Goodman, 1975. Thank you. I kind of thought it looked like it could be her. Elvis and Kathy, the final chapter. Lovers, again, and Ginger on the outs. Diane Ward says, I believe poor Elvis suffered with heart and kidney problems. Elvis just kept performing for fans and making money to help others. Elvis had suffered a lot the last few months. Rest in peace. It was a very tragic ending for him, health-wise. And it's just too dang bad that he didn't have anything but sycophants around him that just didn't force him into a hospital. Come on. The Tiny Bubbles won, jumping over to Elvis and Kathy now. Gotcha. You must have finished that one and jumping over to Elvis and Kathy. So appreciate that. Always good to see you. The Vanessa Boykin looks like it. For the bodyguard that refused to help him get off the floor, they may they rot down in Hades. I agree with you. And I don't know. I mean, we know Dick Grau was a bodyguard. We know, was it David Stanley or Ricky Stanley? One of those two was a bodyguard. I know that it wasn't Billy, because I think he was gone at that point in time. Cynthia Phillips, thank you for reading. Made it to the end. Kathy is what? Let's see if this, we'll scroll now. Kathy, such a good emotional friendship soulmate book. You can tell from the interviews and books who really loved Elvis. Elvis could have been ill with an autoimmune disease like a cancer-like illness. Very true. Well, tomorrow this is Rare Elvis Photos, TCB, TLC. Love you all very much.